Kaushik
Bhai,
bhai,
you
mute
have
pe. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm audible. Okay. So on behalf of IPMMA, that's Indian Pharma Machine Manufacturers Association, EY Parthenon, it's a collaborative webinar and I have a very pleasant duty to welcome one and all. Particularly, good morning to the participants from USA, also our keynote speaker, Frank from Germany, and we have two experts from India, one from representing pharma industry, very growing pharma industry, Ajanta Pharma, Jagdish Joshi, who is the Executive Vice President, Manufacturing. And we have Asif Khan, who represents machinery sector and is also very active member of Indian Pharma Machine Manufacturers Association. This webinar, I must thank E&Y team, particularly Falgun, who has been instrumental in moderating our, even the first session. We had a first session in this series on smart manufacturing. That was on 12th of April, which was very well attended and very well appreciated. And we thought, let's take it forward to the second episode on the same smart pharma manufacturing. Because in the first episode, we discussed about the basics and what the applications comes forward. And this session, I don't want to go more in that and take Falgun's and Tapan's prerogative, but we'll be discussing the case studies as well as the what role machinery sector plays in this journey of a transformation of entire digital transformation. And as we see that India is a pharmacy of the world and we cannot be behind with the global trends. So today we'll come to know what we are, what we want to do, what we wish to do, and what is in pipeline. So I'll request now Tapan to take it forward, who will formally introduce our panel today. And then we'll move forward to Falgun and he will take the moderating session further. Thank you very much and welcome all of you. And wishing you all very enlightening and engaging session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kaushik.
Falgun, you want to go ahead and introduce Frank?
I'll do
That would, yeah.
So I welcome you all. I'd like to welcome senior partner from our EY Germany office, Frank Muller, a dear friend of mine as well. Frank, thanks for taking time out and coming on this webinar and ready to talk on all the smart factory initiatives. Frank comes in with a wealth of experience and Frank has been doing manufacturing work in the pharma space for the last three and a half decades or more than that, I would say. And most of his work has been in the Europe area where where most of the industries have been in the advanced state, and there he has been advising all these clients. And off late, he has been focusing a lot around smart factory, smart manufacturing to look at how we can digitize pharma for companies in all these areas. And today's session, I'm also looking forward to it, to hear Frank talk of some of the specific use cases as to how EY has helped many clients in building these smart solutions to them and what has actually benefited them around it. So I would not hold all of you by me talking about it, but allow Frank to take over and talk about all the initiatives that he has done and how Smart Factory will actually help companies to build their own better standards in terms of the overall compliance and the GMP part of it. Frank, over to you, and looking forward to this enlightening session.
No,
Frank, you're on.
You can hear me well?
Yes, Frank, go ahead.
And I hope you can see my screen as well. Okay, so thank you, Falgun, and thank you to the organizers for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. You mentioned India as a pharmacy of the world. I believe that is what Germany was 100 years ago. Nevertheless, there's still some clients, some pharma companies around here, some pharma manufacturers. And I'm more than glad to share a couple of insights initially, and then join a discussion with you guys, what it all means and what should be your priorities in order to drive the pharmaceutical growth further on in India, because I believe it's a necessity that there will be a growth in pharmaceuticals to provide health to all and hunger to none, as one of my clients used to say. So before, and let me see, here you go. What am I trying to share today? What will I share today? The source of it is actually a workshop we had with one of your potential customers in there, talking about what the factory of the future is going to be all about. We selected a couple of use cases, and obviously this is not limited, this is not exhaustive, so there will be a lot of more use cases, but I hope there will be some of them which are of interest from you, and we try to make it as holistic as we could. About a year ago, I had the opportunity to talk to a couple of your colleagues at IPMMA, and the title of that presentation was smart equipment doesn't make your factory smart. And I think that is the essence of what it is. So you as manufacturers of pharmaceutical equipment, as well as pharmaceutical companies, you should not be focusing on technology only, but you should be focusing on the entire picture of it all weaves into your organization and how you can engage people which are still relevant, I believe, for the next couple of decades to come. Before we go into these details, let me give you a short introduction to myself on top of what Falgun has already mentioned. I think it's important to say that I'm not a pharmacist, but I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer, and when I started working, most likely half of you haven't been on this planet. I was working in what was called the factory of the future, or the digital manufacturing plant of the future. At a time, we were focusing very much on the technology. Needless to say, at that time, we were light years ahead of the rest of the companies, but we were focusing on technology only. We didn't focus on the problems. We didn't focus on the market. So hence that company went bankrupt. And ever since I'm working in consultancy, we're trying to help clients to improve their manufacturing performance. Being a mechanical engineer in a consultancy, you obviously do more than just pharmaceuticals. But at the beginning of this century, I was asked to help Boehringer Ingelheim to improve their manufacturing performance, and that was my start into pharma. And ever since, I'm heavily focusing on pharmaceuticals, i.e. for the last 25 years. What was operational excellence, Lean and Six Sigma in the beginning, in the last couple of years turned into smart manufacturing, because I believe there is a lot to be gained if you combine the technological opportunities you're having with operational excellence in order to improve the performance, in order to drive lead times, and in order to maintain the quality, which after all is the most important, I believe, in pharmaceuticals. So going a little bit deeper into what you saw before on the right-hand side, which looks like a digital twin, but actually is just a good representation of what a plant will look like. But looking ahead, what will be the greenfield plant of the future? The greenfield plant of the future will obviously have a digital twin, and that digital twin will help you to build and to operate and to kind of control the digital plant of the future. I'm not saying that the digital twin and the fully digital plant is going to be something you should be striving for. I believe still that there needs to be a vision you need to have, and that could well be the plant you're seeing over here, fully automated, fully integrated with a data backbone. But I believe what's next is to implement individual use cases, having the issues in mind, whatever they might be in your market, and not only implement use cases for the sake of use cases. Why am I saying that? I've seen a lot of my clients, especially in pharmaceutical, that have implemented use cases which were representing the state of the art and the art of the possible. Very often, these ended up sitting somewhere on the shelf or satisfying engineers, but not satisfying your clients. And when I'm talking to you, I would like to recommend that you focus on your clients' needs and your customers' needs, on the patient's needs, and whatever you develop should be in line with that. And hence, the steps might be smaller, but going into the right direction and helping your clients to become more efficient, to become more compliant after all, to deliver better quality and to enable growth. Because at the end of the day, we're not talking about a stagnant market, we're talking about a growing market. And digitalization will help these markets to grow and will help your clients, your customers to be more successful. So what are the challenges we do see? And I always keep that in mind, and I would like to advise you keep the challenges your clients have in mind as well. I believe we had the pandemic situation and we're out of that, but it's probably hard to avoid that we'll be back into that situation again, which would require a lot of ingenuity in order to develop new products, to distribute products, and in the aftermath of all of that, probably will require even more medication to keep your customers happy. Yeah, the global the supply chain disruptions is something which hurts us over here in Germany pretty much. There are a lot of discussions whether it was a good idea to give away a lot of these API production and pharmaceutical production to the rest of the world, because we were suffering from a lack of medication in the aftermath of COVID. So there's a trend of going more local in there. We still have a lot to gain when it comes to efficiency gaps, which is a good news, because if you want to grow your business, there's a lot to be gained in the efficiency, and digitalization, after all, can help you grow that efficiency. So what is the business value our clients are asking for and are looking for? It's obviously a reduction in manual workload. When I've been visiting Falgun a couple of years before the pandemic in India, it was very obvious that there was a lot of manual operation which would have been truly automated in Europe. And obviously, one would ask ourselves, is that still the case? And looking into the media and looking into what happens in India, I believe even the automation part is very important for you guys as well, because it might simply be too much of a growth, and there might be an increase of salaries, which might make automation still be very, very favorable for you. Hence, you will increase your productivity. On the other hand, the audience, the people you will be talking to, will need much more to be engaged, i.e. you're talking to a different level of operators, you're talking to a different level of engineers. And after all, with all the digitalization and artificial intelligence, we truly believe that the engagement of your employees is crucial in order to drive performance and to drive towards your vision of a fully digitalized plant. That obviously has to lead into a massive reduction of deviations and non-conforming, because after all, quality is something which cannot be inspected into a part. Quality needs to be something which can be produced. Digitalization needs and will help, together with processes and employees, in order to significantly reduce deviations. And that is always a target of your clients, of our clients, of our joint clients. And hence, there will be less non-conformities. So if you're going to keep that in mind and focus on the areas I mentioned before, i.e. processes, people, and technology, I think this is the right approach in order to drive performance and to help your clients to improve. And if you look at the digital angle of it, what does it need? It needs a digital backbone, and we'll be elaborating on that. Very often I find a lot of data, but not connected to one another, not accessible, and not at all an end-to-end connected data world, which I believe is crucial to drive performance in the future. Why is that crucial? Because if you want to deploy automation, and if you want to use artificial intelligence, you need to have access to codified data, and you need to have access to nice tools to write on the screen. Okay, interesting. And that requires obviously the individuals to work with this information and to work with the output of artificial intelligence, i.e. You need to focus on digital fluency and adoption in order to drive digital acceleration. I'm going forward, I'll elaborate on all of these things. But let me go into a little bit into detail. What does it mean now? Here we are back into the plant I've introduced to you before. And looking at people, process, and technologies, let me introduce you to a couple of use cases and take you through that. The first one I just mentioned is the digital backbone and the digital factory backbone. Digitalization and ERP systems and MES systems and SCADA systems are all available. Are they connected to one another? Very often they are not. What does that mean? It requires a lot of effort to, first of all, connect all of these machines you see on the bottom to the individual layers of data storage. And you need to make sure that they're all connected to one another in order to make use of that data. I'm not saying big data. Very often clients are asking me, Frank, what do you think about big data? And my answer usually is, depending on the mood and the client I'm talking to, why don't you try to use small data you have so far? Because what we find is that the data we have is excessive, already now, but it's not codified in a way. So it needs to be manually or automatically treated, and it's not connected to one another. So you got more data than you need and way more data than you use. And having a end-to-end connected factory and a digital backbone is something which is essential to drive your digital factory. Coming back to the overall people aspect of it, digital operational excellence still has its right to play, I believe, because using all of that data and turn that into performance improvement is, for the next couple of years, something your client and your operators will drive. When you talk a little bit more along the supply chain, you will be talking about the golden batch and yield improvements, which will become more and more important. We talked about the disruptions of the supply chains. We talked about the scarcity of material, and hence you cannot afford to waste material. So you need to improve the yield. You need to improve a golden batch. And oh, by the way, that's the start of your supply chain and your production. That we mentioned that before, that we want to be improving the quality, and this is the start there to improve the quality in order to have the best yield you can have and the highest quality of a raw product of the active pharmaceutical ingredient. So when it comes to the more operational part of it, we will be talking about virtual twins. I'm not talking about digital twin, which could be the part in the middle. A digital twin is something we rather see in the future as something to develop in rather a new plant with new technologies. But in order to use kind of augmented reality applications and kind of improve your learning, virtual twins is something which we recommend our client to look in, which we implemented at our client side in order to make it improve his performance, and we'll elaborate on that as well. As much as paperless shop floor, in spite of all that digitalization, in many of our clients, we still find a lot of documentation and batch records and the likes, which are still very manual. And when I talk a lot about the paperless shop floor, I'm not talking about scanning the paper documents and make it digital. I'm talking about a fully integrated paperless shop floor where you have all the information connected on, obviously, the digital backbone in order for our clients to run the operations. And that is the basis to the right-hand side when we talk about workforce automation and artificial intelligence. So you want to engage the operator, we want to engage the personnel in there to become fully connected based on a digital platform. And that once again enables automated QA/QC. We all know, unfortunately, that there's a lot of effort and a lot of costs going into QA/QC. On one hand, I'm happy about that being a customer, not excessively, that's good. But anyway, using medication every once in a while, I want to be sure that this medication is to the best quality and serves the purpose as much as it possibly could. And hence automation in there will help you kind of control quality better. And all the data generated in there will help you improve quality to begin with, because after all, doing it right the first time is still something we should be fostering. Last but not least, another big thing in a regulated environment you're having is obviously the batch record, and the batch record which needs to be maintained, which needs to be built, which needs to be reviewed. This by itself is something which needs to be done very often still manually, and obviously having not only an electronic batch record, but having that automated to kind of give you advice or even release batches automatically is something which we will foresee in the near future in the factory of the future. So let me get into a couple of these things. Talking about digital OpEx. So what's digital about OpEx? So left-hand side is something you might have seen before. It's lean, it's Six Sigma, it's operational excellence, something I've grown up with. But that all requires more or less data. And in the past, it was very often project-driven, and you generated data from the data islands you had rather than data lakes in order to improve projects. Today, we would like to get that data on the digital backbone in order to drive paperless shop floor and connected workers. And you can see a couple of screens there, which we have implemented at our clients to fully give transparency on what's happening on the shop floor and to guide operators how to improve to have a fully connected worker platform. It is the backbone for automated QA, QC. We can derive the data from there and drive it. And the virtual twin is something I mentioned before. So if you look at that, the virtual twin on the right-hand side is something very inspiring. It's not the digital twin. It's digital, in fact, but it's not the digital twin built on CAD and BL-like systems, but it's something which is more built on photos and videos, which enables you to really virtually go into your plant and collaborate with your operators and collaborate with you guys, collaborate with the machine manufacturers. So with the time in mind, let me skip a couple of those slides. You probably make them available to all of you in the future, if you will. So let me elaborate a little bit on the connectivity on the backbone. I can recall having the first projects in digitalization where we asked the client, would the data be available? And then the client said, of course, we got a SCADA system, we got an MES system, we got everything online. It took us a couple of months to finally get that data in a way that we could work with that in the digital factory. And ever since, I think I'm trying to make you understand how important this is to get a digital backbone with all the data available and meaningful data available. And having said that, data enablement requires more than just having a couple of sensors connected to a database. Yeah, but you need to be aware of the restrictions we're having when it comes to GMP and non-GMP requirements. You need to make sure that you have data integrity ensured, because that's the compliant part of it. If you got data which is kind of non-conclusive in there, if you got data you're not acting upon, if you got data which is showing deviations in there you haven't acted upon, it is something you should be avoiding. And cybersecurity is something which has been a common excuse in the past not to connect data, not to make data available in the cloud, because there was the imminent threat that somebody could access that data. But I believe the future will be in the cloud, and we will see that later. And hence cybersecurity plays an important role. So if you look at the individual layers, you'll find certain areas where you find yourself to be more comfortable, and other areas where you might not see yourself as equipment manufacturers anyhow. So obviously equipment is what you design. I think you should be looking into what is your customer requirements, because you're designing the human machine interface as well. You're designing the sensors, and you should make sure that this all gets kind of made available in a structured, centralized way in the cloud space. When I talk to my clients, all of them kind of 10, 15 years ago were going for on-premise solutions. None of my clients these days is preferring on-premise solutions. So Microsoft and AWS are the most common platforms where data is stored right now to be made available for data consumption. And when you go ahead, make sure that you keep all of these different stages in mind in order to enable your client making efficient use of that. And I'm saying that obviously all I'm promoting here is to make your business a little bit harder, because we've implemented similar things in different industries, and I can remember when I talked to one of your competitors, which is not only in the pharma space, but in different spaces as well, in consumer industry, accusing me of destroying his business model. Because of everything you do in here, you make your clients perform much better, because you give them data, you give them insights. And if you look at a common OEE, at least over here in Europe in pharmaceutical industry, it's still way below where consumer industry is. And whatever you give your client in order to improve that performance, you're reducing your opportunity to sell new equipment. But rest assured, just like AI, where everybody believes that in the future AI will take away your job, AI will not take away your job, and this will not take away your job. It just will give it to somebody else if you don't do it. So be blunt, be kind of inventive to help your client use digitalization to improve its performance. In the end of the day, it will help your client to grow, and it will generate demand on your side when it comes to equipment, and then it generate demand and generate more opportunities for you for business. And one might be the paperless shop floor. And without going into the details of the various solutions you might know, you might be aware that at least in Germany, there were a couple of companies trying to come together and build a foundation to provide data of the most common machines in German pharmaceutical companies in order to use the data and turn it into outcomes, into actions. because that is the biggest hurdle we see right now, and that line in the middle is kind of something which we quite often see, that we have a lot of data, that we have a lot of insights, not necessarily connected to one another, but we are struggling in order to make the operators and the customers in general take decisions and take actionable measures in there. And here, this is what I said before. Once we do that, we enable the clients to use your equipment way more efficient, and you might be selling less. But at the end of the day, I think it's investing into a new business model, into new solutions you might be thinking about. And this is, for example, an OEE dashboard, which we implemented in one of our clients together with one of your competitors. Batch review and batch release. I talked about that before, very, very important. It needs to be documented, and at the end of the day, it ensures your customer that whatever he delivered is to the best quality he can possibly do. And what we are aiming for is that you actually have a real-time release. If you know your customers, we are light years away from that. So the process we will be seeing is stepwise from what we have in some of the cases, which is a fully manual review and release. Data will enable the review by exception based on the backbone we're having, based on the contextualized data we're having. Yeah. It will then give you recommendations and where to look at in order to release it manually still. And the next step will be release by exception before we will go into real-time release. How far is that away? It's pretty hard to say, but the improvements you can make in terms of productivity and throughput time in the next coming years will certainly be significant. Automated QA QC. Another big portion, if you look into the COGS, and if you look into the plants, is obviously QA QC. Although I'm a friend of quality is getting produced and not inspected in the part, you still have to do inspection and you still have to do quality assurance, not only for compliance reasons, but to generate data and to improve. So what we are looking at is to a large extent automation. And what we're looking at is to a large extent, obviously, performance monitoring and dashboarding in order to improve. So the steps towards that, yeah, that you have an complete integration of the individual data you might require to do that. Yeah, it will help you to plan your resources more effectively. So we quite often are doing projects over here right now when it comes to QC optimization, QA optimization, especially QC optimization. And the human resources is still something very, very important in there. You will have planning and execution capabilities, which will help you automate the process you still have to do. And the full automation will certainly be something which is supporting that on the other hand as well. And this gives you just a little overview of how it might look like, a full integration from calibration management on the right-hand side to your ERP system and your PLM system. And this is certainly something which needs to be kept in mind, that all the data in there is kind of sitting on a common platform, and that all the data is available in the various systems where you need to actually have that data available in order to do your job in QC and QA. Last but not least, a couple of steps to go. Golden Badge, I was talking about that before. Golden Badge is using kind of most of the information you have available in there in order to drive your yield and to define what the optimum setup would be for you to have an optimum yield. Within the validation windows you're having, because you don't have all the degrees of freedom you might have in different areas, but after all, there's still some room for improvement in order to improve the yield, to run the maximum yield. And I can recall that in my early days at Boehringer in the biopharmaceutical plant, that was something very, very important. And that was a huge USP at their time, that they were able to kind of drive the yield to a maximum in biopharmaceuticals. When it comes to the small molecules and other manufacturers, it's once again about having data connectivity in order to use that to find the optimum parameters within the validation window in order to drive performance. And that will be on the left-hand side, for example, a window where the operation is most efficient in there, and we implemented that with our clients. And there's a lot of AI tools involved in there at the same time. Virtual twin, talking about that. Virtual twin. Digital twin is something everybody is mentioning and everybody would like to implement, but it's hard to really do that, because if you look into companies like Siemens who are trying to really push that down the road towards the industrial metaverse, it all builds on data and all builds on CAD data and kind of digitalization to the fullest extent. So there are many companies out there who implemented virtual twins. They actually build a virtual realities built on photos and videos, which could actually help you guide your operators through that digital plant you're having over there. You can improve your training and your onboarding, which is a necessity, and specifically in pharma manufacturing, something you need to make sure that this is really done properly and documented. It is enabling you guys to look into the plant, to look through the eyes of your operators and maintenance guys on site in order to help you analyze the problems and help you do that. I think the pandemic showed us what is feasible these days with virtual reality, what is feasible to do remote. I mean, we even do these meetings remotely. A couple of years ago, we were probably meeting somewhere and talking about, but now we're having webinars where we can show that. And virtual twin will help you improve your analytics on site and help you improve the performance of your clients, of your equipment on site without being on site. And that's very important, without having kind of rebuild the complete plant in a CAD system and building a complete digital twin in there. Last but not least, workforce automation. Workforce automation is something which is right at the heart of what I'm doing each and every day. It is enabling our clients to really work with the data we're having with AI. You all know that EY has been investing heavily into AI. We not only have been investing heavily into AI in all kinds of industries to design major platforms like EY.ai with our clients, but we're using that to enable shop floor operations by the use of natural processing language, that you have virtual agents. You can use all the data in there to kind of make a machine learn and propose what would be the best parameters to do. You can include smart robotics. So all of these themes are to be implemented step by step, to be implemented to the benefit of our clients, and in order to improve performance and in order to maintain quality and oversight on the quality of the products. And obviously it's used to predict, which is something which is very important when it comes to the maintenance of your equipment you're selling. It's to automate as much as we can. Here we're talking about kind of robotics process automation, and we are using that to generate insights after all in order to improve performance. So whatever we do with digitalization, it is all about using the data we have already to improve performance, to help your clients become faster to serve the market. And to say the words of one of my clients, it's all about having health for everybody and hunger for none. And health for everybody is still a long way to go. So a lot of growth to be expected in the future for you and your clients. And I hope that I could give you some inspiration how digitalization can help you improve your market position, can help you improve your products, and hence improve your client's output and your client's quality and the product he's producing. And with that, I hope, well, I think I'm a little bit over my time, or exactly the half hour. I hope there was some inspiration for the next steps of discussion.
Wonderful, Frank. Thank you so much. Very insightful one. I'm sure there will be a good amount of questions coming in at a later stage to you after I finish the fireside chat with the two gentlemen out there. I'm sure audience will have questions, and you'll be able to pick a couple of them and then respond back to them, give them some pointers. Fantastic. Thanks so much, Frank. Thanks again. Thanks for coming over. I would invite Mr. Jagdish Joshi to come on screen, please, if you can switch on your video.
Yeah, hi, Pharma.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Joshi. Go ahead. Thanks, Mr. Jagdish, for coming over, spending this time with us, and then ready to share your knowledge. So just before I start off, Mr. Jagdish, quickly for everyone here, Mr. Jagdish leads manufacturing operations for Ajanta Pharma. Wealth of experience, close to 35 years in the industry. Most of it is in Ajanta Pharma, and probably he's seen the entire organization grow from a complete manual operations to semi-automated and automated plants. It'll be lovely to talk to you and understand your perspective as to how you have actually built the organization to what it is. Maybe before I get in there, Doctor, if you can, Jagdish, maybe if you can help us understand, how do you really define smart factory or smart operations? And in your perspective, what are the expectations that are there from smart operations to smart factories?
Yeah, I think Mr. This presentation, earlier presentation has covered everything, right, from beginning to the end, how that has been used. The smart factory, we look towards like our vision is normally is there is a integration of advanced technologies, maybe AI, IoT, then the data analytics, and further to that, all decision making based on that. And this all coverage, that is, this is a form of like a smart factory. And here also, like what benefits we can get from this, that is being visualized. Like particularly, if what vision we do that smart factory implementation or a 4.0, whatever we call it as, is like, and he explained in his presentation, it improves the efficiency in all totality. If in a long term, if we see, sorry,
Got it, sir. Got it.
right.
Yeah.
So in long term, if you see like how the efficiency can be improved, the quality, like he has explained how QA QC part online these things happens. Then the
Correct.
compliances, and ultimately all this. Further, I will go later. Your next questions and other thing, anything is there. Then how ultimately it helps to the industry. One law is the reduction of a cost. Like smart factory visualization, not only starts like this all integration, other thing, increase in efficiency, compliance, and ultimately the cost reduction. Like that. In that way, we like think about the smart factory towards that.
And on the same context, Jagdish, how do you see smart factory impacting your day-to-day operations from a perspective of your own organizations? What is it you have seen where all you have implemented?
Yeah, I think it's a good experience, and like very frankly, we can say this is a real-time monitoring. Like we just recently implemented IPMMA here at our Python plant, and we can see online everything is happening and everything gets controlled. That's a real-time monitoring. That's the major things there.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Then like so we are just thinking of like picking up all these data and other thing and make through like a data analytics through one software that will help like batch to batch analysis and product to product analysis, machine to machine analysis, machine performance. The predictive maintenance we are also going ahead with that. How that so that definitely will
Sure.
reduce the downtime there. So that is what we are seeing that journey towards that, and data analytics through that, all these things there.
Got it. Got it. Understood. Understood. And if it's possible, you mentioned about EBMR. Are there any other use cases that you would want to talk about in formulation specifically that you have done in the recent past, or something that is there in your mind that you would really want to pick it up as a use case going forward and implement? Maybe if you can give some examples about this,
Yeah.
that would be useful.
Yeah. If I say for the what we have implemented, I'll start with the QC. It's a total e-limbs there. All equipments and everything is connected through a software, and automatically all results and everything will come up. And chemist he has nothing to do into that. So it's a completely paperless there. You see.
Understood.
And there also we have
Understood.
like early warning, like taken from UI only. There, what are the like earlier we used to do audit trail and other thing. Now we need not to do it. It gives a warning. What are the things not happened as per SOP and other. So the chemist can evaluate. The person can evaluate and go for a corrective action there. That is
Absolutely.
QC in short there. So it's a completely paperless. Now production, if you see, we started from the like air HVAC, which is most important there. BMS system. Now BMS system is helping in a way online one person can monitor all the plant. Like we have 250 cubicles total. So that one person can monitor and he can see where what the pressure difference and temperature is going. That online data gets recorded there. Now another thing from there I go now PASEX. PASEX means EBMR. EBMR we just started last year. It's a very interesting journey. So like equipments are connected to this one and the chemist has to only enter the what are the steps are being required. Everything gets captured over there. And again we went for e-log system there. So there is no manual, no BMR. It's around 150, 200 pages BMR writing by one chemist. So that is totally out now. Real-time data is coming into the BMR. Then e-log, so completely production shop floor in a due course of time will be completely paperless there. Now further to this, we are going one more software, which all this data like SAP, this PASEX, ELIMS and other thing, all these slowly we are interconnecting and we'll get data analytics totally. Now in what way that data analytics will help us? This like Miller has briefed what are the benefits. So like a golden batch. So how we can improve yield. So we'll get a trend of batch to batch, how the yield is moving. Even the critical process parameters, how that parameters are behaving batch to batch. There is a range given in a BMR.
Absolutely.
But how that is going. The area occupancy time. So how if some batch is taking more time, less time, other time, and how we can improve efficiency. Process improvisation also can be done. So these all things will help ultimately to like a paperless, no manual intervention. So quality, we are confident that everything is going on as per this online like way there. And QC is totally paperless there in that case. Now all this data will help us for the improvements there, compliances.
You're saying, maybe if I want to add in and your question there, are you saying that because your BMRs are automated, the specifications or manufacturing parameters, like for example, let me take an example, it becomes easier. Your temperature that has to be set is between 25 to 28 degrees for a particular process. And if there is a variation that is happening beyond the limits, you would automatically get alerts so that you need not get a batch into a deviation or anything, but are able to control it then and there itself and address it. Is that something that you are also looking at and aiming at probably?
Yeah, that also we are also. Our BMS has a like there it can control the temperature and humidity, and if it is going still beyond, it gives an alarm and the person take a corrective action immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah,
Correct.
immediately.
Yeah. Sir, one thing which management typically wants to look at and they would always have a special eye on focus for is your return on investment. Because what we have seen in general scenarios is all the digital interventions that we do for smart factory or digital manufacturing, the cost of investment is pretty high and the return on investment is not one really quick and not high as well. So the time duration that it takes for your return is pretty high. So what is that you have adapted and how have you really convinced your management to get that ROI or convince them that this ROI is going to come in? And also in a country like India, where our manpower costs are pretty low as compared to what it is in the Western world. So many promoters do think through to say that I don't mind putting in additional people. Let us get the job done instead of going in for digital. In these sort of complex scenarios, difficult to work scenarios on those fronts, how have you really gone ahead and got those investments from your mind?
Yeah. So like in one case, like in one hand, if you say I agree with you, another side I say I will disagree with you in this two aspects. How I'll just come up.
Yeah.
Like we are very fortunate that our management himself is now very much fond of going for a digitalization. So for us, it is not difficult to get anything into it. Even they themselves are involved into this. Our MD is also involved. Our president is also involved. our CPA, my partner Jay Kumar is also involved. So for us, getting funds for that is not an issue or other thing, because they are very happy to do that. Because the reason is we introduced LIMS in quality control long back, maybe say 2008 or 9. Then later on we gone for e-LIMS and other thing, data connectivity. We found the benefits of that there only. And that triggered us, this digitalization will definitely help in a long run. If you say for ROI, yeah, I agree with you. Immediately, no. But in the long run, if you see, it will give a tremendous returns. How? So
Correct.
return in pharmaceutical is not only in terms of money immediately. If it reduces your waste, it reduces your waste. You can monitor from your data, waste to batch and other thing, all these products, how that yield is happening, how your waste are going, where you can control your waste and other things. So ultimately that will lead to a addition of money into a organization in future. So that will only help through digitalization. Manual, if you want to take 100 DMR and collect the data and see, it's a lot of number of days will require for that. But here, it's just fingertips you can see, and then a decision making can happen what needs to be done. And we did it. We did it in that way, helping this one. Now, another thing, compliances online. See, one batch rejection costed too much to this. So, compliance is online there. That's the main thing. Like, we should not see after going to the QC only, you will come to know that there is an issue with the batch or OS there. Now, here online you can get it like data and everything you can monitor. So, these two are the major benefits. Then, the regulatory compliances. You are very sure. Like, anyway, human being, whatever activity done by human being, there are chances of error. I'm not saying intentionally, unintentionally. It can happen because it's a monotonous job, not only in pharma, in any other thing. But this thing assured that manual job gets removed, intervention into that. And you get direct digital, direct readings and direct everything. Like in a QC, just load the sample and get the final results. Earlier there were intervention. Like one OS cost 10 more analysis. Now, if you see in all this manner, this cost in a long term, if you see, maybe today it's early to say how many years it will take, but definitely that is going to be a big returns to a company. And I do agree, it's very cost.
Understood.
Slowly, the cost will come down. I think beginning like it has started, but that cost is really a question for all pharma units to go for it or not to go for it immediately. But long run, if we say ROI, as a pharma, yes, long run it will give a returns, in terms of compliance, in terms of quality, in terms of your money also, which finance wants.
Understood.
Yeah.
No, that's very valid point. I think looking at a long-term view vis-a-vis a short-term view, that's a very, very valid point. So sir, moving on to the next point is that we all know all digital initiatives do take in some amount of time for implementation one, but even after implementation, adaptation of the same or adoption of the same by the users and also all the team members, shop floor operators, etc., is also a hurricane task. And there's good amount of management bandwidth that goes in, and also a lot of change management initiatives have come up. So what are the typical challenges that you have seen in this journey, sir? Where all have you faced some bit of a challenge, and what is that you have done to actually overcome these?
Yeah, actually what you said rightly, it's a big challenge initially when we start digitalization or anything. So because the skill what we got, we are available with this, or what we can hire from a market is not that much to be equipped to that level. So it's a learning process to the organization, to the people expert, and to get some expert from outside. Now this is a big challenge to train the people on the digitalization, particularly at the shop floor. And I got like in QC it was that much easy, but in production, yeah, to that level, because the operator and to that level to train them is difficult. But however,
And you see there's more of a enlightened audience as compared to what is in the shop floor. Most of them are graduates or graduates, so that becomes a bit easier. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, so there now the training is more and it requires a patience. Sometimes your production line stops, sometimes your QC stops. It requires a patience. Like sometimes you may lose hours into that resolving the issue, because The softwares are new for us. Like, so sometimes some issues come which you don't know, then we talk with the concern and get it resolved that time. And if gradually it happens, and like I see earlier when I implemented IPMMA, there were a lot of like people were like hard copy is easy and this is somewhat difficult and other thing. But now they are very happy with that IPMMA. So it's a matter of time, you say. And like in people are very like eager now to go for digitalization and other. So we face a lot of issues, online issues and other things. I told you the patience is the best solution for that. Patience and see how you can organize your training. And here, how we should go? We should go in a pilot way. We went into a pilot. We're not in a mega vehicle started all BMR. We took one line, we took one component first, and then stabilize that first. Once all these get accepted, then transfer to another line, then another process. Gradually that has started. So our production has not hampered to that level anyway. Same way in the QC also. Same way in the BMS also. So gradually we have run the pilot runs earlier. After the pilot runs and we found that now the competency has come to the people and then we went to the shop floor. And then slowly, gradually now the time has gone and people are now acquainted with the system and procedure.
Got it. Sir, we spoke about challenges, we spoke about various use cases, we spoke about adaptations also as to how we'll adapt it. Now, when you look at it, one angle is there are digital assets available, use cases available for you to do it. But at the same time, you also need support from machine manufacturers as well. Because end of the day, if the machine is not ready to throw up data, or if you're not able to get the data from the machine directly, whatever use case you think, whatever analytics you think, it doesn't make sense at all. It's just a go-ahead solution, but it will not really be able to help you in very. One, have you faced any challenges from OEM manufacturers? I know we are in a IPMMA webinar here, but directly posting a controversial question on that, just to understand your perspective. One, has there been any concern for any of the OEMs to throw data out or pose that as a challenge to you? Or if you want to put it probably in terms like, what do you think OEM should really do to facilitate such digital initiatives for pharma companies so that it's easy for pharma companies also improve productivity using the data? End of the day, OEMs and pharma companies have to work together in this journey. So if you can throw some light on both aspects, one on the challenge faced there and what would be the better collaborative techniques that we can follow.
Yeah. So first we'll go to the challenges there. Like first, I'll go on another side. The Indian machine manufacturers were also new for these techniques. So what happens? Earlier, they have to take a software from some other their partners. They were also not aware of these things. So if any issue comes, then they contact to their partner and then the issue gets resolved. So journey was very long and troublesome. There were a lot of stoppages and other things. But they were not having any options. But now the pharmaceutical manufacturer they have started their own now some like collaborations or other thing or long term in that way. So I think in that direction the industry equipment manufacturer OEM has started a movement into that direction. The major issue is the training of the people. They are challenges because the OEM does not have time to spend much time with the manufacturer because he has multiple manufacturing units he has to supply. So he gives the time and they train the people. Again, we get a problem online. Then again the person comes and do. So that journey was very troublesome initially. But now the things are improving in that direction. The another major issue being faced is a challenge and it's a like a say of improvement. They have to my colleague Asif is there from here. So there is a like I use one software for one equipment, say, and then I have to interface with the another my software. Now the softwares are different, and the interface of this software is a lot of cost involved, a lot of time involved, and that's really a challenge today and maybe in coming tomorrow also because we face a lot into that direction. Now that these manufacturers are taking, if they take care of these things like the flexibility, like any port can go into this and this can be transferred to any type of software. Now some of them have started, like it can be compatible with this. Like when we did a L2 integration of a equipment with our faucets. So that time we have to do a separate agency and do that transformation from this software to that software, the port arrangement. Some equipment are not having the port arrangement. So that's a really challenge. Now, what I suggest to them, like there are a lot of things which they can do. It's not today they will do or tomorrow. It's a long journey for them also. There and they like I appreciate them, but they like develop equipment and software in a very well, like 21 CFR compliance and other thing. Now, what they can do, like there are a lot of things. Flexibility of their interface should be available for any type of software, so that they'll have to work on that. Another thing, what happens? We have to buy another software, another thing to do audit trial or to get that data, to have a alarm number of alarms and other thing, to do a data analytics. If they can provide in future for a particular equipment a complete assessment which we are doing with the another software, that will a great help to a pharma industry or any other industry. And I think in that direction we move. Then the going for a lot of software and then doing that work will be reduced to the pharma industry. In that direction they can move. But I appreciate their effort they have taken and this journey for India. And we are at a very like rising end today for digitalization. And like equipment manufacturer are the backbone of this pharmaceutical industry. Yeah. Yeah, Falgun.
Yeah, thanks, sir. That was very well articulated out there. I can see Asif smiling on that question. I know he will come up very strongly when I talk to him next.
Yeah.
Probably the last question to you, sir, on this is that for a manufacturer for looking at digital, what do you think are the high-level steps from a journey perspective to smart factory or to reach industry 4.0? What do you think he or she should look at as a journey for themselves going forward? How do you think the baby steps will really make them take the deep steps going forward?
Yeah. See, main thing is open to accept changes, what are happening there, and a technology. So that I think everybody has to see the change is going to happen and this adoption of a new technology into that. In that direction, a pharmaceutical manufacturer or a OEM equipment manufacturer has to look, because every day there is a change in a technology happening. Every day there is advancement. So whatever best possible, that adoption and open-minded change acceptance has to be done by a pharmaceutical or a OEM in that direction. That's the main thing I think. Other things are there, but this is the main thing there, because unless and until we are ready for a change happening into that.
Mindset. Yeah, mindset. Very, very, very well
Yeah.
said. I think the mindset is the more important aspect than looking at it.
Yeah, a new technology, taking a new technology in that direction.
I agree.
And whatever best available thing they can do, then that will be helpful there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic, sir. Thank you so much. I think we'll come back to you with some questions from the audience in a couple of minutes from now. May I request AK Asif Bhai to come on this thing, so probably understand the OEM perspective here. Now that we have understood the pharma industry, let's try and understand. Hi Asif, thanks for coming over. If I have to introduce Asif quickly, he likes calling to be called himself as AK. So let me call him as AK in that manner. Very
I'll correct that
strong.
first. Let me intervene. I'm sorry. I don't like myself calling as Asif Bhai. Since you were referring me as Asif Bhai, I said Asif bolo ya AK bolo yaar. So that's the thing. Okay, go ahead, please. Sorry.
No, AK sounds well as well, and it's a smarter way of looking and smarter way of doing it. And you are in that manner by looks as well.
Can be politically
So
incorrect
SK,
also if somebody...
SK Shah Rukh Khan, AK Asif Khan.
It can be Arvind Kejriwal also, no, bhai. So just be a little careful on that.
Fantastic. Okay. AK comes from a very strong OEM background. He's been doing a lot of projects around looking at how productivity can be improved from a machine manufacturing perspective, and how can you really look at a continuous manufacturing as an agenda and then build it around it. So these are the areas he's been focusing, decades of experience to bring in, not just in India, but outside of India as well, been doing it in these angles. Welcome, Ike.
Thank
Nice
you.
to have you here and looking forward to getting insights from you on these areas. So, if I had to start off, I'll start off from where I left with Jagdish ji and then ask you, how do you think as OEM manufacturers or OEMs, you will need to take the right steps for facilitating the journey of smart manufacturing for the pharma companies? As I said, it's a collaborative approach. Both of you have to work together to get there. But what are those key steps that you as OEMs would normally want to take in these areas?
So thank you very much for having me here. And first of all, I would want to find out who recommended my name for this particular session, which is largely IT. Anyways, I'll connect with you later on that. But I have heard Jagdish ji speak on this. And first of all, thank you very much. The pharma machinery manufacturers really need a lot of motivation from the pharmaceutical companies. And I think it's time that we acknowledge that the pharmacy of the world title we have earned, pharma machinery manufacturers have a lot of role to play there. Of course, the pharma industry has developed the pharma machineries in India, and the pharma
Correct.
machineries have reciprocated by delivering economical solutions which have led to the growth and the title that has been earned,
Completely.
rightly so. In this next phase also of making facilities smart, I'm sure the pharma machinery industry will rise to the occasion. And I know a lot of people engaging with various consultants on artificial intelligence, on Internet of Things. In fact, so much so that in some of the areas, I have even seen people considering blockchain also to be getting incorporated in the way we build our facilities.
Correct.
The important thing over here is while there is a resolve to stand and deliver, there also must be a lot of training which needs to be imparted to the industry for the industry to deliver. Now, if I was making some notes while the session was on. So the biggies in the pharma industry, they all know what smart manufacturing is, and they are taking all the right steps to do it, and some of the solutions are imported. But the crux and the heavyweight comes from the SME. And it's important and imperative for all of us to come together on various forums to express and to train the terminologies being used now, artificial intelligences, IoTs, the Internet of Things, that is blockchains, continuous manufacturing, of course, a common buzzword now. But till the time when they are explained the crux of these solutions and how it can go a long way for them also to get the economics of these, there will be resistance. There are a lot of pharma machinery manufacturers, as I said, exploring international consultants also to come up to make their machines smart and to make the facilities smart. So here you have the people who get trained, then they improve upon the processes by using the technology, and overall there is a growth. So I think artificial intelligence and blockchains and IoTs, a lot of companies are exploring to incorporate this. If I speak about my company, we are consulting AI consultants in order for us to design better facilities and make it right the first time.
Yeah. Point. So on that note, while you've been implementing the solutions, both as a traditional manufacturing and also a solution provider from an end-to-end perspective with regard to how digital can also be enabled there, what are the challenges you have faced here? Again, maybe if I had to put some bit of a thread to that, challenges from the manufacturing side or the manufacturer side, challenges from the compliance side, and manufacturer, and also the challenges from the digital side. If you look at all these three, what are the different challenges that you would have faced from this?
So the first challenge which always we encounter is if we have a smart solution, And as Mr. Joshi mentioned, the uniformity of that solution all across is extremely important. Now, if you have a solution A from someone else, and then in the next round you go for B, those machines talking to each other is a challenge. That is after you have deployed the smart solution. But before that, also, when you have a legacy system, integrating those legacy systems with the newer technologies, that's a challenge. While you do all these things, the data security and compliance with the regulatory requirements is the next challenge. Above all, you have the skill gaps happening all across the industry from both sides. To bridge those skill gaps, again, is a very important is a formidable challenge that we encounter. Now, I see we are in a paradoxical situation. At one point of time, people are focused on medicines availability, accessibility, and affordability in various parts of the world, specifically the farm emerging world. And there's a mad rush for building facilities in deep interiors. And on the other side, we are talking about smart solutions. We're talking about encouraging people to work, to build smart facilities, which in fact, if implemented, will also fulfill the first purpose of building facilities remote places where people are scared to go. So this is a paradoxical situation, and this is something of a very, very peculiar situation we are in. Now, coming back, we have seen a lot of SOPs given to the pharma industry. Like example, if we had a decade back, perhaps, I don't remember the exact time, when vapor absorption chillers were launched. The vapor absorption chillers, for deployment of vapor absorption chillers, you had the administration giving you 100% depreciation benefits.
Yeah.
Right. Now, another way to encourage the pharma industry to implement these solutions is giving such kind of SOPs, which will make smart facilities possible, number one. Number two, even when machinery manufacturers who are already reeling under the challenges of various kinds of competitions and cash flows and yeah, even to pharmaceutical machinery manufacturers, there should be some encouragement from the administration in order for us to hire people from abroad and get these solutions implemented, which in a long way would be very, very cost effective, perhaps, I feel. And then both these endeavors can go hand in hand while you're having a smart facility and there is a medicinal capability being built in the villages at the point of use by putting modular facility. You see, nowadays there is a new concept of having compounding facilities in the hospitals where there are tailor-made medicines made. You see, now we don't some critical illnesses, high tech drug production, onco, for example. Every bed has a peculiar medicine. So the compounding labs is being done. Now, if those have to be encouraged, there's a lot of initiation has to come from the administration too. And I've always said that India has become the pharmacy of the world. However, the machinery manufacturers, and Mr. Joshi rightly said that we are the backbone of the pharmacy of the world. We are a neglected lot. Some other
no
time,
PLI for
this one.
machine manufacturer. Yeah, no PLI for machine manufacturers.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I know it's difficult times. There needs to be certain changes done. Even during all these difficult times, okay, we have seen machine manufacturers support, help pharma companies to grow themselves. In turn, they have also grown. So how do you look at the feedback that is coming in from the industry? Have you seen any critical feedback coming in, or how does the feedback has helped you incorporate some of the initiatives that you are continuously taking?
Falcon, I think you're breaking, so I lost you. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Let me repeat my question. I'm saying while you are helping pharma industries grow, in turn you're also growing in the journey. How have you taken the feedback coming in from pharma industries to implement continuous manufacturing solutions, smart factories solutions in the equipment, which will help the pharma companies grow in a better manner and use the machines in more effective manner. So how is the feedback loop being taken in a positive manner?
It is, I think the industry and Mr. Joshi has already affirmed the fact that the industry is very, very reciprocative. Number one, very entrepreneurial in their bent. You have new companies coming up with all these kinds of solutions. So whatever feedback, and we have various forums on which in which these issues are discussed. There are forums from the pharma side also, wherein they have made points to reflect on us what is the need of the pharma industry, and we are responding it to it very positively. I mean, if you see the remote assistance and operator training and maintenance, which hitherto was missing, now a lot of companies are adopting the augmented reality and virtual reality platforms in order to provide service to the industry, right? And in the association, in the forums that I am in, and my interaction with my fellow industry friends, there is a lot of consulting which is going on using artificial intelligence for machine learning, for predictive analysis, process optimization, quality controls, and even so much so to take actions on the counterfeiting, which is emerging as a menace to the pharma industry. So all these things are being pondered upon, thought upon. We have our limited resources, financial as well, but within our limited resources, you will see next gen equipment emerging, specifically using the IT backbone that we have in India to plug that in, to embed that in our machineries. You will see very quick results happening. I am yet to see blockchain being discussed for supply chains traceability, for serializations, authentications, clinical data management. And if that happens, we would be altogether on a different level. And we are thinking of combining modular facilities with blockchain and continuous manufacturing in order to reduce dependence on unskilled labor also in some parts of the world. So we will see that happen soon.
That's a brilliant one. Probably one point that you also spoke of, Jagdishji also spoke of, is that you have two machines that are being bought from two equipment manufacturers, but both of them have a different sort of a digital solution coming in. And tomorrow, the two to talk to each other is something which is very, very difficult, and you need to spend an additional pound of flesh to actually get that happen. How do you see a harmonization coming in the OEMs across? I know everyone feels it to be an entrepreneur by himself, and he wants to maintain his own way of standards in those areas. But at some point of time, a consolidation needs to happen in this area. If the consolidation is not, what we talk of productivity at an overall level is always not going to happen. It's just going to stay indoors in that manner. From the side of OEM, if you have to talk of how do you see this consolidation happening, and do you at all see this consolidation happening at some point?
Very well taken. Very well taken. In fact, I'm sure what Mr. Joshi voiced is the opinion of the industry, and that has been translated to the pharma machinery manufacturers also. And there will be, and there are steps being taken to ensure that there is harmonization, so that there is no integrity issues happening. And in Frank's presentation, there is a very beautiful takeaway, and that says, don't start with the solution, start with the problem. And when Mr. Joshi also reiterated this issue, it again reaffirms and reinforces that this is the problem. And if there is a problem, we definitely have the solution.
Sure. Understood. So probably a last one, if you can talk of some of the innovative technologies or the solutions that you guys are working on, and what are those practices that you guys are working on, which also you are most excited to work on in the near ones, and how pharma industry will be beneficial with that? So if you can throw
Yes.
some light on the new ones.
So we have a lot of advancements which are happening. Number one, we are working on the continuous manufacturing processes, which will enable a flexible and efficient production. We are adopting augmented realities and virtual realities for operator training, remote assistance, and maintenance. The process has begun to leverage artificial intelligence and machine learning for process optimization, predictive analysis, and quality control. Exploration of blockchain is not happening, but I'm sure it will happen soon. And all put together, these great integrated solutions are being put into energy efficient models into modular facilities, so that your facilities are portable. You have hub and spoke model where you have a large hub producing tons of formulations exported to packing facilities, modular way. These are the kind of efforts that is already the industry has seen, and you will see a lot happening going forward.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thanks so much again. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Not at all.
Maybe Kaushik Bhai, if you want to come in and probably let's pick up some questions from the audience. I'm sure the audience will do have a lot of questions for all the three gentlemen here. Frank, Jagdish ji, and AK, if you can be kind enough to probably answer some of the questions from the audience and give them some more clarity from what you guys have presented and spoken about. Kaushik Bhai. Audience, any of you who want to pick up some question, just unmute yourself and then please do speak.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Kushal. Go ahead.
I am a last year B.Pharm student, and if I am not able to do a business, then I want to have a job. So, as discussed in today's session, that the realm of automation in QA, QC, and in every department of pharmaceuticals, then what opportunities or what career should I opt to have my better career? I would like, and I will be very glad to hear from the great panelists. Thank you for giving me chance.
Well, it's a lovely question, man.
Jagdish, you want to answer? Yeah, go ahead, AK.
Can I?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Kushal, I think number one, the beautiful thing is you're born in these times, which are really, really exciting times. And in the next decade, you'll see India going places and beautiful places. So whichever field you pick up, and you have been witnessing at least Frank and Mr. Joshi speak, I think they must have given you enough ideas. And from Falgun's questions, you would be able to interpret what lies in future for you. So Falgun, this is not related to any of the technical questions, but I think the gentleman needs some opportunity, and I am pretty okay to guide him on a one-to-one basis, or even have him getting into my company, no issues.
Thank you so much, sir.
Fantastic. Super. Any other questions from anyone else?
You asked everything. You didn't leave anything for the audience. So अब उनके पास बचा क्या होगा पूछने के लिए?
Hi.
Yeah,
I have one
Joshi.
question.
Sorry, okay.
Suppose we have one equipment having a
Go ahead,
SCADA.
Mr.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
go ahead.
So if you have one equipment having a SCADA, and if it is running the lots of batches, it is having a multiple data. But future, if my company is decommissioning this equipment or maybe transfer to my another locations, but audit purpose, I want to be the backup the data and show to the audit in future. So currently we have challenges to back up the data and show it to because it is a OS is different as a specific to SCADA, and a backup of each and every PDF file. It is also difficult for us. So how can handle this situation? Because we have again also we are discussed with our consultant. Can we only take the PDF file of batch record? It is sufficient or not for regulatory audit purpose? They say no. Metadata also required during the audit. So my like alarm reports or maybe audit trails. So they say ki all data should be available and it should be open. Really, just you operate the SCADA, same type you should be available in front of auditor. So how can we can handle this situation?
Asif,
No,
I think this question is for you because he belongs to Ajanta Pharma and we are facing that issue also.
Yeah.
Yeah, how machine manufacturer can mitigate this issue in the long run? How that can be a things which definitely a issue right now.
Yes, Falgun, honestly speaking, I would not be able to address this. This is more for the machinery manufacturers. If you have project building, then I can come in. I am pretty sure this question can be taken in and addressed by Kaushik Bhai.
Yeah, Kaushik can be.
Yeah.
I don't know if
More from the regulatory
Guy
point
is
of view.
there on the call. So maybe we can pick that up, Jagdish, offline and then talk about it.
Or maybe Aditya is there.
Aditya,
He would want
go
to.
ahead.
Yeah, hi. I think it's a fantastic question there. There are several options available because it has happened in the past where only information from SCADA was not sufficient. And now there are several solutions available which actually are able to collate and collect the data from the SCADA system at whatever frequency, either live or at the end of the test, to ensure then that information is transported into your MES system or any other IPMMA system that you may have. And it's able to collate it and ensure that you can retrieve the data. Because one thing is to collect copious amounts of data. The next challenge is to retrieve that data in a meaningful manner and in a timely manner. So that is, I don't want to talk as a marketing pitch, but if you have any questions, please call.
You're losing him.
Aditya, we're losing you. Maybe you want to switch off your video and talk. Maybe the bandwidth challenge that is there can be addressed.
Hello, I'm sorry. Was there a bandwidth challenge? Were you not able to hear me clearly?
Yeah, you can just
if
switch
you
off your video so that voice can come in a bit.
Okay. So hi. Let me start again. Can you hear me
Yeah.
fine now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. So this question of collecting data from SCADA and collating that in a meaningful manner where not only is the data stored, but it is easily retrieved. Because what happens is with copious amounts of data, retrieval of data becomes really challenging. And especially when you are facing an audit, it becomes anyway, nerves are, people are a little bit on the nerves. So to do it in a timely manner gets a little challenging. There are several solutions available, and I am more than happy to go into details of how those solutions are available, where they actually collect data and keep it temporarily in a location before transmitting it out to your MES or your IPMMA software, where it can easily be retrieved and stored for any future audit purposes. I don't want to go into the marketing pitch of the product that we offer, but if required, I'm more than happy to bring that into it, because we've also implemented some level of machine learning into the products that we've started to offer.
Jagdish, probably you can, if the Ajanta Pharma problem is there, you can probably talk to Aditya later.
Yeah, you can talk to Aditya.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aditya.
Anyone else who has any questions? We are almost at the top of the hour, 2 more minutes left, but anyone else who has questions, we'll be happy to take that. There's nothing. Rajendra ji, maybe you want to come in and put in the closing remarks on this.
Okay, thank you, Falgun. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of IPMMA Webinar Committee, we extend our deepest gratitude to the IPMMA Association and EY Parthenon for organizing an enlightening webinar on smart pharma manufacturing. Our sincere thanks to all the speakers, Mr. Frank Mueller from partner EY Germany, Mr. Jagdish Joshi, Executive Vice President, Manufacturing, Ajanta Pharma Limited, India, Mr. Asif Khan, Founder, Fabtech, Portech, India, and Mr. Falgun Rudrapatna, Partner, EY India, for excellent, final coordination. We also extend our appreciation to all the participants for their active engagement and thoughtful questions which made the session enriching and dynamic. Special thanks to the organizing team, which was ably guided by our advisor, IPMMA advisor, Mr. Kaushik Desai, and our president, Mr. Harshit Shah, for their meticulous planning and seamless execution, ensuring a smooth and successful event. We are confident that the knowledge gained today will empower us to embrace innovations and drive progress in the pharma manufacturing industry in India. Thank you once again to IPMMA Association and EY Parthenon for this wonderful opportunity. We look forward to future collaboration and continued learning. Thank you. My name is Rajendra Kinsaria, Founder Director, Kinsaria Associates Private Limited.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rajendra.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Have a good rest of the day. Thanks. Thank you, Frank. Thanks for
Thank
making.
you.
Thanks again. Thanks,
Thank you,
Jagdish.
Falgun. Thank you.